Oh my gosh, friends, welcome back to my channel, Doing Better with Mariah. It has been a while, 5 months to be exact. I last talked to you in May, and a lot has been going on, which is why there's been such a dramatic gap between the last video and this video. So I wanted to hop on and give you a little bit of a life update, what's been going around here that has kept me away from making videos. So first, the biggest thing that has kept me away from making videos is that my husband and I have both decided to go back to school. So I am now back into these kind of books, I'm in my master's program of social work over at UTA, University of Texas in Arlington. So, paying for big, thick books like this, only to read maybe 2 chapters, and reselling it for 10% of what I paid. Yay. But truth be told, actually I enjoy learning and educating myself. I think that's one thing that's changed since I got my undergrad and graduated a few years ago, is that I've learned the power of educating myself. And that while, of course, the classroom and learning from an instructor at an accredited school is of great value, and the certificate means a lot, and it's needed that we have a basis or standard of education for these professions, right? Specifically, my profession of social work, there needs to be a baseline of what we learn. But education should not, for me, stop there. For other people, maybe, they can do what they want, and I'm not here to pass judgment on that. I want to dig deeper. So even if my teacher only requires I read 2 chapters out of that book, I have found it interesting to educate myself and read further, or find other TED Talks, videos, other books that are helpful and give me insight into the field of social work, and as well as other things that I'm just very curious about. Love learning. So very excited to be starting school, but I am going to school full-time. Just started my first term back, and I work full-time. I meant part-time. I work 25 hours a week. And that is going to have to change. Because I also still have my family duties, my household duties, right? Of things that I like to do and want to do and need to do around the house and for my family. So that work requirement is going to have to change, because I am also going to have to begin my internship next semester. So big changes happening, and that has really changed my schedule, really changed my mindset, because I am still committed to, cooking from scratch regularly. Almost every day I'm cooking a meal, or at least one meal from scratch, and including prep time and cleanup time, that is never less than 2 hours. So that added into other responsibilities has been challenging, right? Just the shift in what I'm doing on the day-to-day. And so that has been probably the biggest life update to give you, is that is happening. Also, our kids, so as you if you've watched previous videos, I have 2 stepkids. I married a single dad, and they are now in new life stages, kind of, so which requires just different support. Our youngest is now has turned 18. Our oldest has turned 21. Parenting doesn't end at 18, it just changes, and so they're going through things where they're just needing different kinds of support, and so that has required some of our attention as well. And we're excited for them with new milestones and new chapters in their lives, but that has taken some of my focus, of course. And then, of course, there's things around the house, around the property that are changing, and we've made some big changes. We have, since I last talked to you, we have put in 2 garden beds, one in the backyard and one here in the front yard. And so in the backyard, I'll put in a clip here. I tilled a portion by the fence line. My husband was awesome and helped me put together, or actually he pretty much put together the 2x4s that became the edges of the garden bed. And so that has been awesome, has been up and going. And the front yard, our neighbor is a master plumber, so great skill to have next door. But that also means he has an excavator. So he graciously came over and dug a trench for us in the front yard with his excavator. And so I put in a hugelkultur bed. So if you don't know what that is, Google it, but also, or find other videos, but also real quick, it's just where you have a trench. Oftentimes it's shallow. You can also make it deeper like we did, because I wanted my bed to be a little bit more flat versus the big heap that hugelkultur often has. But I filled it in with tree trunks and branches and leaves and grass clippings, all sorts of things, right, to put in there to feed the plants that I plant in there. So on top of all that organic material, also putting down a few inches of potting soil, my mix of potting soil, and once you put your plants in there, that bottom, all that organic matter helps to hold in the moisture as well as release nutrients, kind of as a slow release, a natural slow release of nutrients as those things decompose and continue to feed the plants. So that is in our front yard, so that's exciting. Another big change, also has been a money thing, is that when we bought this house, we had a carport right actually behind this wall is the edge of the house, and so we had a carport on the other side that we bought with the house. And when we bought it, we knew it was in disrepair. We knew that we would have to fix it, if not replace it. And we did want a garage because there is no garage in this house. So we decided, bite the bullet, before the thing collapses with any snow or ice storms we get this coming winter, we wanted to go ahead and replace it. So we tore that down, applied for all the 16 million city permits. Okay, maybe it was only a few, but felt like 16 million because it took so dang long. But we got it all approved, and our garage gets installed on Thursday. We're so excited. We're gonna have a garage. We're gonna have a place to put our storage, and our cars. So very excited about that. But that also means when we took down the carport, attached to the carport was like a laundry shed, just like it's a shed essentially, but it has the laundry in it and a little bit of storage space. The only storage space that we had in this house. So that when we took off the carport, we didn't realize it exposed part of the roof and water got in, and we did not know that, of course, until the first rain, and the shed was raining inside. It was a mess. So with that, we are having to replace that as well. For now, we just patched it up to work it the best we can, but it's ruined. I mean, we're not going to be able to reuse the materials in that shed, the walls and things like that. Once the garage comes in, that's the next thing that's going to have to go. So a little bit of money, or a lot bit of money, and time later, we are going to get an awesome garage set up. So very, very excited about that. We also got the foundation repaired here at the house. So that is a lot of money. I don't know if you've had your foundation repaired, but that is a lot of money. And it was, almost a week of guys out here working. And, our guys were awesome. I have no complaints about the work that they did. Their time here, they were as respectful of our space as they could be, digging all around and under the house. So I don't have any complaints about that. But the process in general of having your foundation repaired is a lot. And, this house was built in the 40s, so we ended up getting like lots of cracks and seams. Some of the seams of the wall to the ceiling have come apart, and doors, some of the doors close better now, some of the doors don't close well anymore that did close before. So little by little, we're going to have to fix all those things, the cracks and the doors that don't close anymore. So yeah, a lot going on there. But I would say the biggest challenge these last 5 months has been because of all those changes. I have really let go of taking care of myself. If I'm honest and vulnerable, I have really stunk at that. And people had warned me, my friends had warned me, like, hey, you're gonna take on some of these new responsibilities, specifically around school, and it's gonna be easy to put yourself on the back burner, to kind of go into survival mode. And as much as you can try to prepare for those things, you're just not prepared. At least in my experience, I was just not prepared. So I have definitely been in survival mode, and that has been a challenge because when you're in survival mode, you are not looking at making better decisions for yourself, doing better. You're looking at what do I have to do right now? And then in 2 hours, looking at it again, okay, what do I have to do right now? And then what, and living like that is stressful. And living like that zaps the joy, right? It makes me not be able to prioritize my well-being. And so that can be a real challenge, and it has definitely affected my mental health and my physical health. It affects my mental health because I become more apathetic about things, like, okay, whatever, just as long as it doesn't blow up, we're good. And I can laugh about that, but that actually has really bad effects for me. And I don't like that. I don't like what that produces, because it produces a very frazzled person, a person who is incapable of being a very good friend, and that's not who I want to be. Also, it affects my mental health in that I'm always feeling behind, right? I feel like no matter what I do to try to catch up, I just can't catch up. And so that feeling is just terrible, of feeling always stuck one step behind. It's affected my physical health because, at the beginning of the pandemic, I started having problems for the first time with my blood pressure. And so that was a challenge, a new challenge for me. I've never had a health concern. I've never had a diagnosis. I've never had to take medications before. That weren't like, an antibiotic or something, short term. So yeah, and my blood pressure has become an issue, significant issue right now. So having to address that, also just not getting out as much because I'm overwhelmed and on survival mode, which has decreased my physical activity. So that has effects right on my physical health. So those are things that have been negatively affected by these last 5 months, the craziness, the shifts, and my husband's schedule changing as well, because like I said, he's going to school, our son, going through new adventures of his own, our daughter going through adventures of her own, and so that has gotten things really out of loop. But I want to get back to doing better in those areas. So I'm committing to kind of getting out of that survival mode and going into a mode where I am practicing being present right now and being able to look ahead and stop floundering so much, because life really isn't as crazy as it was just a few months ago. So just calm down. We're gonna figure this out, So some things I want to get done. I want to, I've kept up on the garden. So, you haven't seen the garden since May. In the next couple days, I definitely want to show you what's happening in the garden. You didn't miss much over the summer. If you watch any North Texas gardeners channel, you'll see it was not a fun summer. We spent 2 months straight over 100-degree days, and that was terrible for everything. And everything was brown and crispy no matter how much I tried to water it. My tomatoes stopped growing, everything stopped growing. The peppers were the only thing that actually continued to steadily give me a little something, but even they stopped completely for a few weeks there at the end until we kind of dipped back and got a little bit of a rain. And so, geez, that was crazy. So, but most everything has been replanted. We're starting fresh with our fall garden. So I can't wait to show you the fall garden. I was also encouraged by another small YouTuber called The Organized Pineapple, I think is her name, to do a purge of my clothes. I have so many clothes, and that is overwhelming. I have more clothes than I have space in my dresser and closet, and I definitely don't wear them. So I'm ready to do a purge. So I'll do that with you guys as well. Just making some decisions to keep doing better. And then I want to also, in one of my earlier videos, I showed you a common morning routine for me. I want to get back to doing that. I have definitely gotten out of that, being in survival mode, of spending that time with myself, and spending that time with God, spending that time in my thoughts, and being able to think through. And I think that is, I think me getting out of the habit of that definitely contributed to going into survival mode, because I couldn't think forward because I wasn't processing what was happening right now. So I definitely want to be getting back to that. So I'm excited to get back to a little bit more regularly showing you what's happening in my life and being honest and vulnerable and real about my thoughts and the things that are happening in my day-to-day. So I thank you so much for coming back and listening to this update. Please give it a like. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We will talk to you next time. Bye.